My dad served 2 tours in Vietnam, came home with a Bronze Star and a shattered knee, but never once asked for sympathy. Was a quiet man, disciplined, the kind of guy who folded his laundry military tight, ironed jeans, and still got up at 5 a.m., even 30 years after retirement. His pride wasn't loud, it was steady. Every morning he walked into the yard, looked east, and raised the American flag up a 20-foot pole he cemented into our lawn with his own 2 hands. He said it reminded him of the men who never made it home, of the friends who gave their lives so we could argue about things like yard signs and fence paint and how many inches your grass could grow. That flagpole wasn't decoration to him. It was sacred. Then came the letter. It arrived one afternoon, tucked inside our mailbox a crisp, formal notice from the Homeowners Association. Violation. Unauthorized structure. It included a photo of the flagpole and cited article 1-B of the HOA rules, stating that all permanent vertical structures over 6 feet require written approval. My dad laughed. I didn't, because I knew our HOA president, Karen Walker, wasn't just posturing. She was the kind of woman who once fined someone for hanging a beach towel over their fence. Petty didn't begin to describe her. At dinner, I told my dad we should file for the approval retroactively. He just looked at me with a half smile and said I didn't raise a flag for permission. The next morning he raised it again. Bright and early, proud as always. By the end of the week, we got hit with a $100 fine, then another, then another. The HOA started fining us daily, saying we were in non-compliance with ongoing enforcement proceedings. The total reached $900 before I called the HOA office. Myself, I asked if we could meet, talk it out. Karen wouldn't even get on the phone. Instead, she sent a certified letter demanding removal of the flagpole. Within 10 business days, or face legal action and a property lien. They weren't playing. They were trying to scare us. My dad didn't flinch, but I could tell it was getting to him. The man who fought in a jungle was now being told he couldn't fly his flag in his own front yard, and by people who never wore a uniform in their life. Things escalated fast. One morning we woke up to find a bright orange notice taped to our garage door. Final warning. The same day, 2 HOA board members showed up at our property while I was at work. My dad said they stood in our yard taking photos, measuring the flagpole, laughing. When he came out to confront them, they accused him of being hostile. He stood there in his flannel and baseball cap, 70 years old, with a bad knee and a soft voice. They called him a threat. I'd had enough. I went online and started digging. Turns out this wasn't just happening to us. Across the country, HOAs were using vague aesthetic codes to bully veterans into taking down flagpoles. And in 2005, Congress had actually passed something called the Freedom to Display the American Flag Act, but most people didn't know it existed. I printed it out, highlighted every line, took it to the HOA office. Karen wasn't there. The secretary wouldn't accept the paperwork. I sent it via certified mail. A week later, they doubled the fines. That was the moment I realized we weren't dealing with people who cared about the law. We were dealing with people who cared about control, so I did what they didn't expect. I went public first. I posted a video of my dad raising the flag. I kept the narration simple. My dad is a veteran. Our HOA is fining him $100 a day for this. The video hit 50,000 views in 48 hours. Then came the local news. They did a segment with my dad, standing by the pole, talking about honor and service and what that flag meant to him. The footage was raw, emotional. It struck a chord. Within 3 days, the national media picked it up. Emails started pouring in, strangers offering to pay the fines, lawyers volunteering their time, veterans groups sending letters of support. Our congressman's office called and asked if we'd be willing to speak at a local event about flag protections. My dad was hesitant, but I said, they need to see the face of the man they're trying to silence. We showed up to the town hall on a Thursday night. Packed house, news crews. The whole HOA board sat in the front row. Karen wore a smug grin, like none of it could touch her. But the moment my dad took the mic and told his story, the room fell silent. He talked about the friends he lost, the flag-draped coffins, the sound of taps echoing in the jungle. He said, I don't fly this flag to be defiant. I fly it to remember." You could hear people sniffling. Karen stopped smiling. That night, our congressman announced he would be introducing a local ordinance that enforced the 2005 federal flag law at the HOA level, meaning associations would no longer be able to fine residents for displaying the American flag on freestanding poles, no matter what. Karen tried to fight it, claimed it violated the HOA's autonomy, but it was too late.
Ow.
The story had legs. Veterans groups rallied. News stations ran nightly updates. One veteran even stood outside the HOA office every morning with a flag of his own. The public turned on them. 2 weeks later, the HOA rescinded the fines, claimed it was all a misunderstanding. Karen resigned shortly after, citing health reasons. But I think the real reason was that people finally saw what kind of person she really was. As for the flagpole, it stayed still standing to this day, and my dad, he raises that flag every morning, a little slower than he used to, but with the same pride in his eyes. He still gets letters, still gets hugs from strangers. And every now and then, a neighbor he's never met will stop by, salute the flag, and say, "Thank you." You know, I used to think HOA drama was small time. It's just annoying old people fighting over paint colors. But this was personal. This was a war over dignity. The truth is, sometimes the smallest freedoms are the ones most worth defending. Because if you let them take the flag, what's next? My dad didn't fight in Vietnam, so Karen could tell him what patriotism looks like. He didn't come home in one piece just to be told his pride was aesthetic clutter. He fought for the right to raise that flag. And now, we made damn sure he'd never have to take it down again.